So I've been spending a few more days digesting Prince and remembering him, remembering all of the times that I've spent with friends listening to and enjoying, dancing to, talking about, thinking about Prince. And again, in the last video that I posted on Prince, I pointed out that in the obituary that The Economist had, not one time did they actually use the lyrics of Prince. I was shocked that an entire page of stuff about Prince could not actually have Prince speak for himself. They didn't even have a quote of him from an interview. With that said, here's part two. Baby, can I dress you? I mean, help you pick out your clothes. Before we go out, I ain't saying you're helpless, but sometimes those are the things that being in love's about. Ooh, if I was your one and only friend, would you run to me if somebody hurt you, even if that somebody was me? Yeah, sometimes I trip on how happy we can be. So I'd like to focus on those two sets of lyrics from the song If I Were Your Girlfriend. The first part being, baby, can I dress you, help you pick out your clothes, da da da. And the second, of course, being, would you run to me if somebody hurt you, even if that somebody was me? First of all, these are lyrics that Prince wrote, I believe. And what you'll notice about them is they're beautiful. They're quite poetic lyrics. They are magical lyrics. Baby, can I help you pick out your clothes before we go out? And he switches back and forth. He literally is that multi-gendered or transgendered figure. Because even in these lyrics, even in one line, you can hear him switch back and forth between the subjects that he plays with in the song, be it, if I were your girlfriend, I'm your boyfriend, but would you love me more? Could you love me more? Could we be closer? Could we know each other more or better or in different ways if we were of the same gender? That's the base question. But Prince's question, of course, goes directly to the matter, if I were your girlfriend, because he doesn't just say if we were the same gender. He's not saying if we were both buds. He's saying specifically if we were girlfriends. He's evoking a specific kind of relationship. And what he's doing simultaneously is, he's pointing out what's so difficult and ridiculous about patriarchal gender. On the masculine side, no, he doesn't ask the question, what if they were both buddies? For him, that an even deeper level of them knowing each other would presuppose that they're tapped into the feminine sides of both of them. So I think it is also a comment on patriarchal masculinity as well, while at the same time pandering to, or is he, stereotypes about patriarchal femininity. And so in the song, he explores this, and he's, even with this one lyric that I mentioned, can I dress you, can I help you pick out your clothes before we go out? So ultimately, and in the other set of lyrics I'm going to talk about, he positions himself ultimately as the object of her affection, the object of her, romantic affection, while at the same time he opens it, and just as the query does, about what if we had something other, but equally he's positioning it as something more, this feminine connection. I find it's a really beautiful song because it embodies these questions about gender in just a love song, and I think it's typical of Prince to use love songs and use romance to ask questions about money, about gender, about all kinds of identities. And it's interesting that in this particular song, what I think he's able to demonstrate most dramatically, as he does in many of his songs, is that he's not the chaser. He's the one, and he doesn't respond to those who chase him. You don't have to be too dynasty, he says in Kiss. But what he's saying is, women approach him, and he appreciates not that they're aggressive women, but that is also an expression of feminine power. He's also a mirror of that, and so he's, of course, ultimately think about Prince as we imagine the ultimate narcissist, and so he's, he gets women who literally look like he would look if he were a woman, so we imagine that he's the man that they are if they were men, him and Vanity, him and Apollonia, promoting the mystique that Michael Jackson, that many black stars in this tradition, icons in this tradition of performance, have played with, is being the non-threatening Negro, circumventing the conventional stereotypes around black masculinity by effeminizing oneself. And so we can certainly say that as a peacock doing the peacock dance, as a man who parades and primps and beautifies himself, that Prince was certainly, at least in his imagery, we could say that he put out, tapped into his female side, tapped into female power. But what's more interesting, and this is where it becomes interesting for me, is that even on the level of his lyrics, I say what he gives out in his image, but if you listen to his lyrics, he also positions the female as not the aggressor, but as the mutual partner in the romantic love. Now, in many of his songs, as I say, he will throw in something like money don't matter in this relationship, or if I give you diamonds and pearls, but all I can do is offer you my love. And so he goes on and on throughout his body of work, talking about insisting that it's the person inside, not the man and the woman, not the rich or poor person, not the white or black person. Plenty of lyrics about how race don't matter, and how race is, in effect, a social construct, that he goes through in the Uptown that I talked about in the previous video. But his insistence that even he embody that. And you hear that, he's quite consistent when he does that. And I think the song, If I Were Your Girlfriend, is just a uniquely joyful, euphoric way that he plays with gender. Even the title itself, but as I've talked about in his lyrics, Now, the second set of lyrics that I wanted to talk about, would you run to me if somebody hurt you, even if somebody were me? Again, what I hear in how he positions the masculine and the feminine lover, because they are clearly a man and a woman, and it's heterosexual love, but that he again is able to go back and forth between the gender play. Would you run to me because I'm your girlfriend, I'm your very best friend, even if somebody hurt you, even if the worst case scenario, he says, where that person were me. So again, him is the masculine part in this relationships in principle. Supposedly, he's attentive to her, he's caring to her, he's sensitive to her needs. In effect, he's trying to anticipate hurting her, knowing, because as he's a man, he's going to hurt her. But that her needs come first, and he would even want to attend to those. So be sure that he's the person that she can turn to. Again, if you think about how different this is from the contemporary commercialized R&B and hip hop, the contemporary black images that you have, contemporary being commercial images, why Prince was such a trick for the system, is that you do see just the masculine almost predator, the rape almost fantasy, is a normative undercurrent to so much of the popular imagery in fashion, in film, and certainly in music, in Prince's industry. Of course, he crossed into film as well. And so we have really lost someone who could tell us stories, and then not just tell us through saying it in one or two songs, but embody this and engender this throughout his body of work. We have lost someone, and yet people like us who are sitting here today able to listen to this, we lived through it. We actually experienced. Someone my age, I'm 40 years old, I was there. I was a kid when, Purple Rain in '84. I was a young person when I could dig deeper into my relatives' Prince collections and hear how they heard him and hear what they had to say about them and see how they enjoyed someone who was so radically different. As a gay young person struggling to find, understand, and ultimately accept and love my own different gendered self, Prince was certainly one of those anchors in the popular culture that said, be you, do you. It is 100% imperative, and this is what Purple Rain demonstrated dramatically to the world. It's 100% imperative that you do you. It is 100% imperative because your creativity, your uniqueness, your purple madness comes from your ability to look at, accept, honor both the ugly and the beauty in you and face them both with a fiercity that says, I love life, I choose love, even when there's hate. That for me is what Prince in his royal purple badness.